Chapter 24, Misty Waters Bay near Bismarck, North Dakota. There was a small gas station next to the marina's main commercial building. Casey pulled his bike in to fill it up while he monitored his target. Gunner backed his boat down the marina's ramp at the edge of a zigzag body of bay water. Docks held covered pontoons that stretched to a narrow waterway that opened to the Missouri River. There was an eerie creak of ropes as they played tug-of-war between the moored boats and the docks in the swaying water. He could smell food grilling. Casey couldn't use his phone while he followed Gunner on his bike, so he checked Google Maps to see his location. Misty Waters Bay, on the outskirts of North Dakota's capital city of Bismarck. He hadn't ventured into Bismarck and had never been to this area. There were several times during the 1-hour tale he thought he'd lost Gunner, but the trailing boat helped him keep track without being too close. Gunner tied his powerboat to an empty dock and moved his truck and trailer into a daily parking spot. He rummaged around his truck cabin and pulled out a duffel bag. Casey wondered if Gunner had noticed his GPS unit was missing. Returning to his boat, Gunner tucked the duffel under the passenger seat and fired up the boat. A maroon Chevy Tahoe parked next to his truck. A tall, thin man wearing a dress suit and red power tie marched to the dock. The man checked his watch 3 times on the short walk. The two men talked, but Casey was too far away to hear them. He thought about pulling his bike down to the parking lot, but didn't want to risk being discovered. Instead, he moved to the corner of the marina building so he had a better viewpoint. Gunner waved at the tall man to step into the boat. The man cupped a hand on his right hip and scanned the marina. Casey tucked behind the edge of the building. Peeking out, the man in the suit stepped off the dock and sat in the passenger chair of the boat. Gunner unhooked the rope and navigated the boat out to the Missouri. Shoot, I'll never be able to follow them out there, Casey thought. Gunner opened up the engine and the powerboat launched upriver. Casey fired up his bike and drove out to the access point road that ran parallel to the marina. Gunner's boat left a wake with small white waves pushing toward shore. Casey didn't have binoculars on him but saw the boat disappear between 2 sandbars upriver. Casey shut off his engine and made a call. "What's up, Buffalo Man?" "Truckee, listen, I followed Gunner down by Bismarck." "Why the hell didn't you call me?" "There was no time to call and I was on my bike. But here's the thing." Casey scanned the area and looked back at the vehicles in the parking lot. "He's meeting with someone right now out on the river in his boat." "Who's he meeting? You sure he's not going out for a quick fish before he leaves?" "I'm not sure who the other guy is. Someone wearing a suit who didn't look happy to be meeting with them, and they definitely aren't fishing." And they're out on the river right now?" Casey peered upriver at the sandbars, but there was no boat activity. "Yeah, looks like they're talking, floating between 2 sandbars in the river." "Okay, well go capture their license plates and see if you can figure out who the guy is." "Good idea. You think I should follow Gunner or this other guy when they leave?" "This sounds like an off-the-record meeting." Truckee paused. "My guess is Gunner will want to get out of there and leave as few breadcrumbs as possible. Might want to follow the other guy and see if we can use him to get at Gunner at all." "Will do. I'll head over and get their plates now." "You want me to head down that way? Don't you dare try to capture him on your own." "It's tempting, but I'm sure Gunner is packing and I don't know this area well. I'll probably just stay back and follow this new guy." "Let me know how it goes. Call for muscle." Casey pocketed his phone and drove back to the parking lot. He snapped pictures of both vehicles and their license plates. He peeked inside both, but they were locked and he didn't want to trigger the alarm. The man with the Tahoe had a briefcase on his passenger seat, but there were no papers he could see from outside. He drove back up by the marina building to wait for them to return in the boat. He figured he could send his sister the license plates to see what she could do with them. Something was bothering him, though, from earlier. He couldn't figure out why Geronimo would call him on the Knife River Visitor Center line. Casey had included his cell phone in his application, so if Geronimo wanted to talk about the position, he could have just called him directly. The only reason to call me there was to see if I was there, in a specific location at a specific time. But why would he want to know that? The sound of the boat's engine shifted his concentration. Gunner navigated the boat through the narrow slit of water and back to the dock. The tall man's face was bright red and he looked ready to jump overboard. Gunner hooked the boat to the dock and the tall man scurried to his vehicle clutching the duffel bag. Money? Casey wondered. Perhaps a bribe? The Tahoe fired up and the man bolted out of the parking lot. Gunner backed his boat trailer into the marina and Casey thought about staying with him but pursued the Tahoe. The vehicle turned onto a road that followed the river south. Casey gave the man some distance but he was driving his Tahoe 20 over the limit. They snaked through residential areas at the edge of Bismarck until the Tahoe pulled into a 2-story brick office building. Casey parked across the street at a bank. The tall man parked and went inside the building, leaving his duffel bag in the car. There were 2 flags flapping above the building, one with the stars and stripes, the other with North Dakota's state symbol. There was a sign on the front of the building, North Dakota Industrial Commission, Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division. Dang, Casey thought, if that duffel bag has bribe money, this entire operation just got a lot more complicated.